Hello, friends. I'm back with today's Read Aloud. These are stories that we are going to be comparing sometime next week, so we want to have them fresh in our brain. This is a short little story by Ezra Jack Keats. You may have read some of his other books, like Whistle for Willie or Snowy Day, or maybe you've read Peter's Chair. But we're going to go ahead and listen so we can compare it next week. Peter's Chair. There's Willie. I like how they have the same characters in these books. Peter stretched as high as he could. There, his tall building was finished. Crash! Down it came. Shh! Called his mother. You'll have to play more quietly. Remember, we have a new baby in the house. Peter looked into his sister Susie's room. His mother was fussing around the cradle. That's my cradle, he thought, and they painted it pink. Hi, Peter, said his father. Would you like to help paint sister's high chair? It's my high chair, whispered Peter. Can you imagine how Peter might be feeling right now? It seems as though he was an only child and it was just him in the house before his mom and dad had a new baby. Do you think maybe he's feeling a little jealous? Or maybe he's feeling a little bit angry that his stuff is being used for his sister? Maybe he's feeling sad that he's not able to use that stuff anymore. Maybe he's just feeling a little bit left out that they're able to give the stuff to the baby and not to him. So, imagining how a character is feeling is a good way to help know what kind of trouble he's in. He saw his crib and muttered, My crib, it's painted pink too. Not far away stood his old chair. Well, they didn't paint that yet, Peter shouted. He picked it up and ran to his room. I'm thinking he wants to keep the chair. Let's run away, Willie, he said. Peter filled a shopping bag with cookies and dog biscuits. We'll take my blue chair, my toy crocodile, and the picture of me when I was a baby. Willie got his bone. They went outside and stood in front of his house. This is a good place, said Peter. He arranged his things very nicely and decided to sit in his chair for a while. But he couldn't fit in his chair. He was too big. His mother came to the window and called, Won't you come back to us, Peter dear? We have something very special for lunch. Peter and Willie made believe they didn't hear, but Peter got an idea. Soon his mother saw signs that Peter was home. What signs do you see that Peter is home? Sometimes we have to read the picture because the words don't always tell us all the parts of the story. That rascal is hiding behind the curtain, she said happily. She moved the curtain away, but he wasn't there. Here I am, shouted Peter. Peter sat in a grown-up chair. His father sat next to him. Daddy, said Peter, let's paint that little chair pink for Susie. And they did. The end. So the trouble in this story was that Peter was feeling upset about having to give away his stuff to his new baby sister, so he decided to run away with his chair. So now we need to go back to the part where the trouble got solved. Why do you think that Peter changed his mind about the chair? Because it was after this part right here that he then had an idea, and then after that, he came home. So I know that this part is the part right here where he decides to change his mind. It says he couldn't fit in the chair, he was too big. Hmm. What do you think that Peter realized and learned in this moment? Do you think maybe he started to think that since he's too big for the chair, that he doesn't need it anymore? Has that ever happened to you? Maybe you've outgrown clothes that you really liked, but you're like, I'm too big for this shirt, so I don't need it anymore. So when you've got something that you can't use anymore because you're too big for it, what should you do with it? What did Peter do with it? He decided to give it to somebody who would use it more, somebody who has more use for it, which sometimes for us, that might be like donating it to a church or to Goodwill or to somebody who has less than you. Or maybe it's just, giving something away and helping somebody who needs stuff that you don't need anymore. So Peter learned that he can be helpful and give away his things that he doesn't need anymore to somebody who needs it more. And I think that's a good lesson to learn in this story is that if there's stuff that we don't want anymore, that we don't need, that we can help others with it. And the bigger lesson, aside from just having stuff that we don't need to have a use for anymore, it could just be give back to people who need things or help others. That's a really big lesson. All right, thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow with the next Read Aloud.